Director of Sue. Is Daniel enjoying his summer holidays?
Not really.
Okay, I'm milling about with Monica Dolan and director Simon Bird from Days of the Bagnold Summer. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
So where in the world are you guys calling in from?
London, Hammersmith, London. So West London.
And I'm on the opposite side of London, out east, and very specifically, I'm lying on my bed, embarrassingly, because my children are downstairs, and it's that time of the day where things have gone a little bit off course.
Yeah, you got to get away, right? All this quarantining is probably making you guys crazy.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
only just a little bit more so than usual.
So tell me what you are. Is this the way that you've been able to see each other, is via these little Zoom interviews?
Mainly, yeah. I mean, actually, the last one we did was just an audio one, so we didn't actually see each other. But yeah, we've been doing, particularly when the film opened here in June, we did quite a few of these Zoom calls and these Q&As, and yeah, it was such a lovely response to the film. So it was
Yeah,
nice
it's
to
been,
do this, but it was a
been
bit
the
nicer
main.
when you were on stage at the National Film Theatre doing Q&As in person, wasn't it, Simon?
That was definitely preferable, yeah.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, these Zooms have been the main sort of social interaction I've had over the past 12 months, which is, no
Yeah.
offense, quite depressing, but still very happy to be here.
Well, I absolutely adored this film, you guys. It was so charming and it made me homesick for London. So I would love to hear all about choosing the locations and the home. Tell me all about that.
Well, I think with the locations, so the film is based on a graphic novel, and the graphic novel is quite enigmatic about where it's set. It never says specifically it's in this town. I guess the idea is that it stands in for any suburban town in the UK. So when I read it, I very much read it as if it was the town where I grew up, which is Guildford, which is incidentally the next town over from where Monica
I grew up.
Yeah.
I grew up in Woking, so we both grew up in Surrey.
But I think probably people who read the book up and down the country assumed it was their town. And so when I was looking for a location, I think in the back of my head, I was looking oddly for somewhere that just looked exactly like where I grew up. For various boring budget reasons, we couldn't film it in the town where I did grow up, despite me looking into that. So we found somewhere that's pretty similar, and I think there's a lot of towns like it across the UK. And we ended up filming in Bromley, which is about as suburban you can get while still filming inside London.
Oh yeah.
Which we had to do for budget reasons.
Monica, did you feel at home in this house? It just looked so charming and quaint and lovely.
It's quite interesting actually, because when Simon and I went for one of our coffees pre-shoot, he showed me the house and I went, oh, that's quite a big house, because, you know, she's a single mum and she's a librarian and everything. But yeah, so I felt like she'd done sort of fairly well. I did really like filming in the house. Yeah, I mean, we just the way it was all dressed and everything. You know, Daniel's room was done fantastically with all the sort of heavy metal things that he enjoys, and things like that. There's a picture of Daniel when he was a little boy, and it's really telling because Sue can't really let go of the idea that he's her little boy. And you know, that's one of her journeys in the film, that she has to get used to him playing this music that she thinks is really angry, and him sort of starting to choose his own things. But yeah, you know, it was I suppose sort of a typical house, and there was the dog, and Sue obviously likes very sort of pastel-y things, and she gets to choose the majority of the decor in the house. So suppose I mustn't be rude about the house, because maybe the people whose house it was might be watching it, but we did change quite a lot of things. So
Simon, anytime there's a dog, you have me. So tell me about working with this dog.
Well, the dog was excellent.
Dog was better
And
than me.
I say that, I mean, because it was its first ever acting job. We I feel like I'm going on about the budget, but we basically ran out of money to have a trained dog. So this was just the dog of my friend's mum. First time on set, and just a natural, just got it straight away. Hit all his marks, knew all his lines. Um, so no, he was great, and Kay, who was my friend's mum, the quote unquote dog trainer, you know, who'd never been on a film set before, just you know, we were in such a hurry and we needed stuff to happen quite quickly and get stuff right, and she was just got into the rhythm of it straight away. So we were very lucky, I think.
Monica, so what kind of bonding or unbonding, if you will, did you do with Earl Cave, who plays Daniel, your son?
Well, we were quite lucky because we used to travel in together to Bromley in the car every morning. So I'd say one of our biggest tensions was in the car on the way there, when he'd want to play his sort of music and I wanted to play maybe a bit of Sue's music, kind of music, some Barry Manilow or something like that. But that was quite useful to draw on, you know. And the way it happened, quite a lot of our scenes where, you know, they're getting on and they're the sort of kind of sweet scenes really, where they're getting on and they're having fun together, we shot quite early on. And then yeah, he kind of got nastier and nastier, and about halfway through I said to him, you know, because he's a really sweet person and he's really lovely with his own mum and everything, so about halfway through I sort of said to him, you know, if you're really nasty to me in this scene, you are doing your job, that is the right thing, you know. And then maybe regretted that a bit later because because he really went for the nasty thing, but it, you know, it was good. I mean, he's I really liked working with Earl, and he's just got this quality, I think, of being quite vulnerable and just being a lovely soul. So I think that if the casting hadn't been really right, Daniel could have come over as just really temperamental and quite unsympathetic. But he, you know, he was just the right person to underpin that, and you could see all the pain and everything. So yeah, you know, it's quite a complex film emotionally in some ways, and actually, I found him. I felt, yeah, he just right from the first audition, he was concerned about how the scene went, and um, you know, just quite emotionally mature actually, and just able to talk about everything. And we used to practice our lines in the makeup bus and all of that. Yeah.
And it's
What's
such a,
interesting, Simon, yes.
I was just going to say, it's such a, while Earl's not here, we can, you know, praise him to the hills. It's such a hard part actually, because he's, you know, Daniel is, he's sulky and he's moody and he's spends most of the film being mean to his mum. So it's very easy for an audience not to like him. So you really need somebody who, despite all that, despite the fact that you can barely see their face for their sort of lank hair, despite that, they have a quality that is just very magnetic and very likable, that shines through. And I guess the inspiration there was people. I was thinking of and I can't remember his name, embarrassingly, but the boy who plays Harold in Harold and Maude, who you know, again, it's very, who's sort of obsessed with death and darkness, but despite that, is brilliantly funny throughout that film. And that, you know, that's something that Earl, I think, pulls off so well.
Now, speaking of the music, did you pick his brain at all? Because his dad is Nick Cave, so maybe he could have lent you some musical tips.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I should have done. I think I was, yeah. Again, too embarrassed, really. But he, I think he found it quite hard, given his sort of street cred, to really get into heavy metal. I think he was, he gave Metallica a fair go, I think, but never really fully got into it.
No, he never really got into it. On his previous job, the Ned Kelly Gang film, his makeup artist had been really into heavy metal, so I think he'd sort of been grilling him a lot about it. But yeah, it wasn't really his sort of thing.
Okay, Barry Manilow or Metallica, go.
Barry Manilow all the way.
I think it is probably Barry Manilow, amazingly.
I do love that part of the film where Belle and Sebastian do the "Can't Smile Without You" song, which is Barry Manilow's song, and you know, when they're on their journey, I really love that part of the film.
Yeah, it's a beautiful cover of that song.
It is actually, yeah. I've been trying to find. I have to ask Stuart because I've been trying to find it, and for Stuart from Belle and Sebastian, I've been trying to find it, but I can't find it anywhere.
So Simon, this was your directorial debut. What kind of nightmares did you have, if any?
I really didn't. I feel very lucky. Most of the nightmares and the stress were before the filming started, actually. You know, I think anyone who's gone through the rigmarole of trying to raise money for a indie film will have sympathy. Uh, it's a very complicated and stressful process. And not that I did most of it. Most of that was done by my producer Matt, but um, some of the stress was communicated on to me. And so I just felt, you know, once we'd raised that money and we knew it was happening, that was such a relief after sort of a year of not knowing whether it would actually come together. That then the filming process just felt really fun, and we were sort of blessed with amazing weather. And I don't know, it felt like the sun was shining on the project from the moment that we started shooting. So I had a great time.
Monica, what were some of your favorite scenes to shoot? And I think something was on the trailer that didn't quite make the cut. Am I right? The yoga scene?
Oh no, that the yoga scene is in there. Yeah, it's just a snippet. I think it's part of a montage in towards the end when, yeah, well, I won't give it away, but I also really enjoyed well, not maybe enjoy is the wrong word, but a scene with Tamsin Gregg when her character Astrid is giving Sue Reiki, and you know, there's no way that Sue would ever decide to do Reiki herself or any kind of therapy like that. So yeah, just her whole friendship with Astrid, I quite enjoyed.
So talk about casting her, Simon, and also casting Rob Brydon, who is also a riot in this.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's one of the best things about directing, is getting to sort of, work with lots of people that you've grown up watching and loving and respecting. And so that was fantastic. I mean, Tamsin, I know because she played. I sometimes I act as well, and she plays my mum in a sitcom that I'm in, and so there was an element of sort of guilting her into taking part in the film. I don't know whether she sort of did it out of pity or duty, but I'm very glad that she did. And then Rob, I've never worked with before, but obviously I know that he's brilliant. And the same with Alice Lowe and Tim Key, and we had such a stellar cast. So
Oh, Alice is lovely too. Yeah, those were really fun. Some of those sister scenes actually, and some of the ugly stuff that her character drags up and everything. Yeah, great.
Did Rob try to take you off guard, Monica, in some of those scenes in the taxi and at the diner? I have a feeling he threw in some improv there.
Oh yeah, I mean he's really inventive. So there's always but that's all the fun of it, isn't it? Yeah, he throws stuff in, and there are other things that you have to deal with. But then it's fun because Sue's dealing with them. She's sort of managing the situation however she would manage it. And I liked that Sue didn't shy away from the date or anything with Mr. Porter, that she's sort of up for it and she's going to enjoy her night and everything. And yeah, that was really fun, particularly the restaurant. I really enjoyed with all the pasta and everything. the pasta scene.
What happens to that food?
It goes colder and colder. That's what happens. And you're really unlucky if you're the second person to be shot because it's really cold by then.
How many takes, Simon, do you do on those types of scenes? You try to sort of get through them quickly?
Yeah, I think we did quite a lot of takes actually. In that scene in particular, Earl was not that keen on it because he had to eat quite a lot of pizza. I think we got through.
Earl had to eat quite a lot, full stop, didn't he, throughout the whole film?
He did a lot of cake, a lot of pizza, a lot of ketchup, a lot of Coca-Cola.
I was quite jealous of him having the pizza, actually.
I don't know how he lives with that hair. If I was his mother, I would be like, wash your hair now.
Well, he's well, I don't know whether you've seen him recently, but there has been quite a drastic change. It's all gone now. Buzz cut. A lockdown buzz cut.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's funny.
an awful lot of that hair and making it look like that was makeup as well. He'd go through a whole session in the makeup buffs of them putting sort of grease on his hair so that they could get it nice and greasy and fly away for the scenes when he's riding the bike or the back of his head.
Well, I highly recommend this film, you guys. It was just so much fun to take an afternoon and just laugh and be happy.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you.
Well, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. And yeah, thank you for your recommendation.
Yeah, it's really kind of you. Thank you.
What have you got going on next?
I'm actually about to do some filming. I've got a project coming up called My Name is Leon for the BBC, which is based on a book, which is a really beautiful story. And yeah, there's quite a lot of tension and angst in that too, but it's all actually from the point of view of a little boy. So yeah, it's really beautifully written.
Ah, wonderful. And Simon, you said you made this film because it was manageable with no explosions. So are you going to do something with explosions next?
Possibly not next. No, maybe years in the future. No, I was sort of myself and Lisa, who wrote the screenplay for Days of the Bagnold Summer, are starting to think about future films. But it's sort of COVID has obviously for everyone been a bit of a obstacle, and it feels like at the moment we're focusing on just keeping our children educated, and then hopefully at some point in the future we'll get to make another one.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining me, guys. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for having
Thank you so
us.
much.
Thank you.
We can't muck things up too badly.
Always news. Always refreshing. Always candid. Always milling about. Robin Milling delivers what celebrities are saying to you.